I don't know if it's big picture time for us. We're breaking down a bunch of video on the Sun Devils. Haven't, faced them all year, and 15 games into conference, it's unusual that we haven't seen them. So, I think they're a really solid team. Significantly better than their record, in my opinion. They've lost some close games and have a bunch of talent at all kinds of positions. Guys that have been there. That's the big focus for us. Is just trying to get through the very next game, and then we'll, big picture stuff is probably more for maybe when the conference season is over, before we head into Vegas, and maybe try to sort out exactly where we are and where we move forward. But we still broke down some film, played some zone this last weekend, did some different things in our pick and roll coverage that we need to improve upon in practice today. Continue to talk about rebounding. Defense and rebounding have been our focus the last 2 weeks, and will continue to be the focus this week. And not much has changed, Dirk, in terms of putting our priorities in place, and the fact that we're at home sleeping in our own bed, certainly more pleasant to think about than having to get on a bus or an airplane or anything like that. So hopefully we'll be ready to close it out. Yeah, again, I'm trying to sort out what it is that they do. I haven't seen them as many times as a lot of teams. When you're doing game preparation, Arizona State hasn't been a common opponent with people that we've played. So I've watched 3 games here in the last day, and kids play really hard. There's a lot of pick and roll, a lot of athletes, and I'd be ahead of myself. I don't think there's too many people that are going to tell us at this point what a Bobby Hurley coach team looks like. That takes a while for him to bring his players in and put his stamp on the program, and too hard to predict what it is exactly. I know that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree in terms of where he was coached and where he played, and a lot of those things are pretty consistent, that they're going to be dialed in, and they're well coached, and they're a disciplined team. So beyond that, we're just trying to sort out how to find a little chink in their dagger, or a chink in their armor, and figure out a way to beat them. It's a one-game deal. You don't. It's like if you're playing defense. If you have a solid weekend of playing defense, you don't just make the assumption it's going to happen again. Your style of play, you still need to bring it, and it usually involves some preparation and same kind of determination to get after it and guard. So it's not as though we've arrived and we've found this style and now we're just going to go out and let it happen. It's earned through some practice and making sure that we stay focused. I think one of the big things is not giving up easy shots, easy baskets. And the 2 ways from a defensive standpoint that kill you is transition baskets, maybe turnovers that you can't defend, and not getting back in transition, which we've done a good job of. And then offensive rebounding, giving up offensive rebounds, which are oftentimes at point blank range and too hard to defend. Those areas we've shored up. The beginning of a defensive possession is in transition, and the end of it's the exclamation point of a defensive possession is getting the rebound. And so we've done a better job of it. We have to continue, and practice today, that's going to be one of the first things that we do. Again, it's as Tony Dungy said, it's kind of an ordinary thing, right? You just try to do it extraordinarily well, some of the simple things. And to me, that's what I'd like our style of play to be, is relying on those staples, continue to play together, and making high percentage plays, not turning the ball over, and keeping things somewhat simple. To me, that's the style of play if we're going to win games that we've got to continue to try to reach up to. Well, it's pretty simple. I think if we focus on the staples, which again is defense and rebounding, those 2 things we have to bring for both opponents. We're not going to be talking too much about Arizona this week scouting report wise, but a lot of what Arizona State and Arizona do are similar. Physical teams, athletic teams, solid defensively, and some similar things in pick and roll defense that we're going to have to be ready for. So that's the main thing is it's not like there's two completely different opponents on the weekend. So I think we can kill a few birds with one stone and be working on some things. And we're not going to be talking too much about the Wildcats until Friday. We do have the off day and then the morning of Saturday morning. So it's the first for us in terms of having a little less time. But I think our guys understand that we're going to stay very much in the concept about it being our next opponent, and we'll have adequate time hopefully to talk about the Wildcats. We can't change it. Would like a little bit more time. They play Wednesday night in Colorado, and so they'll have a little bit more time, but first things first.